Hi guys and welcome to Pheas Airsoft, where today I'm going to unbox this Evo Airsoft Ghost S EMR S Carbontech. Hey guys and welcome back. If you do enjoy this content today, please do like, comment and subscribe because you'll be really helping me out, especially the like button because that's going to help me get seen by the YouTube algorithms and really boost the channel. So thanks a lot. Quick point on safety, when I'm doing these unboxings I always make sure that the mags are out, batteries are out and what have you. Please make sure you're doing the same and being safe if you're handling guns as well. So today we've got then the Evolution Ghost S EMR S Carbontech with ETU. So I picked this up from patrolbase and it was about £165 from there recently. And it was an interesting thing, I've not seen these before, sort of a bit of a new concept, so all plastic, externals mostly. With a MOSFET built in, optical based MOSFET, I believe, a tight bar as well, high torque motor. So it's quite an interesting little package for a fairly decent price in all honesty. So let's get started. I've never heard of Evolution Airsoft before. So there we've got the basic, details on the end. And just a bit of branding about on the box, nothing too special. But fairly nice looking box. So just slide that open. There's QR codes everywhere to access their website. So we get a very simple manual that just says to connect to 7.4. It doesn't recommend anything else. And their website, I can't see any other information saying any other sort of battery support at all. So I'll get that out of the way. Got a 120 round mid-cap magazine, which looks nice and solid, sort of like a PMag style. And there we have the Ghost itself. Now, I actually quite like the stylings of that. That's quite different. So, it's definitely much weightier than, for example, the SEMA 500 series budget types, the 517 and so on and so forth. It's quite a weighty beast. So the body is this sort of Carbontech. It's like effectively a plastic, I suppose, a polymer, but it's rock solid. There's no real movement in there at all. Maybe the tiniest wiggle. The rail unit, the front M-lock rail unit, that is definitely some sort of metal. You've got a suppressor in here. We'll get rid of the orange end cap. There we go. That's well snug on it. You can see there. It's obviously rubbing on the paint a little bit, so I'll move that to the side. We've got obviously nice long rail opportunity across the top with a little one at the front for a flip up sight and a rear sight. See if we can get down those. There we go. I'm actually quite impressed with that. You even got a nice little flat trigger as well in there. So they've thought about the kind of things that people are going to want. Obviously the styling of the body is quite modern, I suppose. It's quite cool. I'm liking it. Now I was hoping then that the ejection port would lock open, but it doesn't look like it's got that feature. No, just checking, it definitely hasn't got that feature. So we'll start at the front then. So that is a suppressor and the barrel comes right to the end. Now that is threaded in there. That does look, it is on a negative thread and that is coming off. That looks like I've got a nearly identical suppressor in my kit that I put on pistols, and I suspect that is just a generic double-ended suppressor. So I bet that's a positive thread and that's a negative thread. I mean, that's not that there's anything wrong with that. It is foam packed in there, but that comes to virtually the there we go. I'm going to say it's not going back onto its toes there, but the barrel does come virtually all the way to the end, so it's not actually going to be doing anything for you really to suppress the sound of it at all. But it's nothing to worry about. It's just obviously something to know that is a double-ended suppressor. It can be removed and you could fit another suppressor in there. If you're going to put a tracer on the end, you're probably going to need several barrel extensions to bring it out there, or a really thin one, possibly the lighter S. I'll see if I've got my lighter S easily to hand in a second to see, or after the shooting tests. I nearly forgot to check on the Ace Tech. Now, it doesn't actually matter if the Ace Tech will fit inside because the outer barrel, the inner barrel is too long anyway. So just to show you for argument's sake, there's the suppressor. The Airsoft is slimmer than the suppressor, even if I move it to one side, you can see. So the Airsoft would fit in there, but the inner barrel is far too long anyway. So you would need to get barrel extensions anyway to build up onto the end. I think I got 6 inches of barrel extension that brought it to just probably about the same length as this. So this, I would assume this is probably about a 6-inch suppressor on the front there. So if you are going to fit a tracer, don't forget your barrel can't go through it because the light gates can't detect the BBs to illuminate them. So body then, obviously nice. Standard AR type mag release, that is in metal as well. You've got your bolt release selector, which clicks quite nicely into place. And then we've got a stock. Now for the battery on this one, it does look like it should be a crane stock. These are actually solid. And the battery, slide that on once I finish throwing it around. I don't know if you can tell in there, but these are solid. There's no way to get a battery in there. This doesn't easily come off for you to slide a battery in at the back. And indeed, these sort of wings got all the way to the back, so there's nowhere to route any wiring in there, which is a bit of a shame really, because that could have been quite a nice slim style stock. So you are left with fitting your battery down the stock tube. Now it is quite wide. It looks a little bit wider, sort of boring down there than a typical Airsoft AR stock tube, but it is like sort of, I don't know what it is. There's basically, I don't know if you can see that on the camera there, but there's like ribbing down there. I don't know if that's just from the milling process, if it's bad milling process, if it's just ripples in the paint that have gone down or what. But that is obviously something to be aware of, that there is like rippling or ribbing or something in there particularly. So click the stock back in place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is a 6-position stock, so you've got plenty of adjustment in there. The pistol grip is nice and comfortable to hold, and that looks like it's one of the ones where you pinch it in. I'm going to leave it for now. Pinch it in, and it looks like I should be able to access the motor from under there quite easily without really needing much tools. There is a quick change spring system in here as well, and it's got a, that's a little bit loose. I'll tighten that up when we do the disassembly. There is a 6.01 tight bore barrel in there as well, and a high torque motor. Obviously the ETU is optical based from what I can see from my research, because it's got cycle completion, so I assume it's either magnetic or optical to complete it, but it's not programmable. I did go on their website to have a look, and unfortunately at first I started getting a little bit excited because I was like, oh look, it's programmable. It's not the same system as in some of their other guns that have got a programmable system in it. This is just a sort of basic AB MOSFET with cycle completion and active brake. It's just got those 3 features in it. But I'm actually quite impressed with that. It's not a brand I'd heard of before now, but I'm quite liking it. I'm quite excited to go and get shooting with it. What I will do is quickly is my Discord sort of members, which if you haven't joined, please find the links down below in the description. Come and join us. It's a really great community. They suggested a operating it with gloves section in every video. So I've got my gloves on to try and see what it's like operating it with gloves. So in terms of getting to the hop is easy. So it's a orange hop, and you have to push down to hop. I can operate that with relative ease, which is good. The magazine, it's an AR. We know that's going to work, sort of in gloves, because that's what they're designed for to an extent, I would assume. The selector, nice and easy. The stock, nice and easy. The only difficulty here might be actually refilling the mid cap. What I will do is I will make sure that I test it with, I've got 2 brands of high caps available to me at this moment. I've got a SEMA high cap and I've got a Nuprol high cap, so we'll make sure that they feed in this as well as part of it. So I'm happy that this is operable easily with my glove, even doing the hop. A little bit fiddly with the hop, but I can do the hop as well with my gloves on. So we'll go to the shooting test now then, the chrono and the rate of fire test and the range, and see what's happening with that.
I can barely see him.
Okay, so chrono then, we'll start with the chrono. So the lowest reading was 315 FPS, or 315.2, and the highest was 323.4. Now that for me is absolutely perfect territory to take it anywhere in this country, in the UK, and play Airsoft. You're not going to have any issues with that whatsoever. You're not even close to any sort of borderlines or anything like that. I think even in Ireland, I think they're strictly limited to 328. So you're absolutely perfectly safe with that. Really, really happy with it. In terms of the rate of fire then, we got 12.4 rounds per second roughly on a 7.4. Again, very respectable. I would have thought potentially could have been lifted a little bit higher, maybe with a high-speed motor. I did put an 11.1 in it, which you've seen, which gave us about 20 rounds per second, stroke 20.1 rounds a second. You know, that 0.1 could make a massive difference to you. So again, really good rate of fire for an out-of-the-box sort of AR type. I was possibly expecting a little bit more, but it is, you know, it's very respectable. You know, it's slightly above what you get out of the SEMA stuff, but then arguably they're significantly cheaper. But then this has a MOSFET in it effectively, so maybe expected a little bit more. But I was really happy with it. In terms of the range then, what I did, I was remove the tracer and I fitted all of my barrel extensions onto it to fit a tracer on the end, just because I didn't want to scratch my tracer or scratch this. So we did the range check in the dark, just because my shooting locations at the moment, I know they're not perfect, but at least in the dark with the tracers you can see exactly how far it's going. And I was definitely, the 601 is definitely working. Tiny little bit of spread right at the end of their flight, which, you know, is hard to sort of avoid out of anything really. It wasn't windy at all, but I was getting well over 50 meters. I would say probably about 55 meters there, you know, with ease sort of thing. And that was only, you know, the rounds that you saw being fed through it. I'm sure a little bit more bedding in that hop and it would definitely neaten up a little bit more and possibly even get a little bit further. So I was really happy with what I was getting out of this. Obviously 320 FPS or thereabouts. It will take apparently up to an M120 spring, which maybe the high torque might be a little bit more useful to you there. Maybe high speed would have been better in this build overall. But I'm quite impressed with this. I do like it. I almost forgot the batteries as well. So batteries then, you're not left with much option really. You're literally left with either changing the stock to a crane stock, which is one option I suppose, or you can get yourself a stock tube LiPo. So this is the one I've only got available to me at the moment. So it's a 1200 milliamp LiPo, 8 fields one, and that does fit really nicely in there with some room for the connector as well. You connect those up, get those in there, and the stock goes back on, and happy days. Obviously you are going to be changing that a couple of times in the day just to sort of keep it fresh and active. Now it has got battery protection in the ETU as well, so I would assume it probably gives you some sort of beep or signal as the LiPo is reaching the low voltage that's obviously dangerous for them, and meaning you know when to change it. So that was the batteries. I would like to get a game in with it. Unfortunately, obviously, we're still in lockdown in the UK at the minute. This was filmed sort of mid-February. And it has got a new owner to go on to very, very shortly. But I will be doing a disassembly. I've just realised the front sight, you have to push a button to flick it back down, and the same on the rear sight as well. Overall, £165 may be a little bit expensive, considering what you can get for a little bit cheaper from sort of SEMA, but some interesting prospect there with the ETU in it, with the Type R already. I suppose you've got the upgrades in there, that a little bit extra money. Maybe a high-speed motor would make a massive difference. When the new owner's got it, I will ask him to see if he can fit a high-speed in it and see what kind of results it gets out of it, and possibly post a comment down below. Might even pin it as well. So, hope that's been helpful to you. Please do make sure to like, comment and subscribe, especially the like button, because that helps me. Make sure to join my gaming channel as well and my Discord. I'll leave the usual photos, and I will see you next time, guys. Bye.